Chicago does not feel like a place that keeps anything wild. It does not feel like a place where you can get killed by wildlife on the way to the car or find something older than your neighborhood buried behind the grocery store. It feels finished and poured, a city of steel and glass and 11 o'clock trains. Parks are laid out with a ruler and lakefront paths swept clean by dawn. The prairie that used to be here got paved over so long ago that most people never think of as a prairie at all. You walk the forest preserves on a Sunday and it feels like landscaping because it's handled and it's curated. A green idea of nature with the danger designed out of it. And it's exactly the feeling that you need to hold on to for this episode because it's all wrong. Not a little wrong, like this is wrong in a way that people who study these animals for a living understand better than anyone. And it is those people I keep coming back to because there's a strange tale that runs through this whole region. The closer you get to what actually lives here, the further the experts pull their own hands back. That is the ranking today. 6 animals in the Chicago area, and I'm not counting them by how big they are or how often they turn up or how frightening they look in a photograph. I'm counting them by distance, by how much room the specialists who know them best insist on keeping. The people who know the wildlife. They have spent their whole years or their whole lives around these creatures and who have learned something the hard way. The exact number of inches that is safe. That list climbs from the ones a professional will handle carefully to the ones a professional will only approach from behind steel. And the number 1 is an animal that experts here will not touch with their hands at all. Not carelessly, not once. Now, if you're the kind of person who thinks about what is really underneath the place, who cannot walk a tidy trail without wondering what the tidiness is hiding, then subscribe now because this is the channel exactly for that. And tell me in the comments where you are watching from, and while you're down there, tell me one animal you would not touch for any amount of money. I want to see what if it makes the list. So number 6, the common snapping turtle. It lives everywhere in this region, in every pond and slough and slow river across all Cook County. That's where Chicago is. And out in the collar countries, or counties, buried in the mud at the bottom of water you have almost certainly swum in or paddled across. Most of the year you'd never know it was there. It sits on the bottom and it waits. And in the water it is calm, almost docile. And that's the part that fools people. I'm not talking about the small turtles, because the snapping turtle you meet is one that has come up onto land to move between ponds or lay eggs. And on land, it's a different animal entirely. It cannot retreat into its shell the way other turtles do. It's too big, too exposed. So its whole defense is offense. Patton would love him, right? General Patton. It has a neck longer and faster than it has any right to be. And it could throw that neck back across nearly a full length of its own body and bite something standing behind it. Here's the expert twist. The wildlife vets in this state, the people who treat these animals when they are hit by cars, will tell you plainly that you do not pick up a snapping turtle the easy way. Not by the sides, not by the tail, ever, because the weight of the body against that grip can sever the animal's own spine. The Illinois Wildlife Guidance is specific down to the hand position. One hind leg in each hand, or the very back rim of the shell, and nothing else. And even then, only if the animal's hurt and it has to be moved. The safest handling advice the professionals give is the advice they give for almost everything on this list. Coax it along with a shovel and otherwise leave it completely alone. A prehistoric jaw in a stubborn drainage pond, and the pros move it with a tool held at arm's length. Number 5, the Yellowjacket. Every summer, this region fills with them. In the ground and in the walls, and even in the eaves of houses, colonies that can swell to tens of thousands by the end of the season. People treat them like a picnic annoyance, a thing to wave off a soda can. And that casualness is the danger, because a yellowjacket is not a bee. It does not sting once and die. It can sting again and again. And when it does, it releases a chemical alarm into the air that calls the entire colony out of the nest to join in on the stinging of you. This is where the experts get interesting. The safety officers at the research universities here, the people who send the field crews out into exactly this habitat, write down rules for stinging insects the way you would write down rules for a live wire. Never swat, never make the fast movement. If one stings you, walk away from where you are standing, because the smell of it just behind is a signal to the others. If a nest opens up on you, cover your face and run. Do not jump in the water, because they will hang above the surface and wait for you to come up for air, and the removal of a nest is never, in any of this guidance, something you're told to do yourself. It's a job left for professionals in sealed suits, because a disturbed colony does not calculate the way you do. It just comes. More people in this country die every year from stings than from spiders, and most of them never thought the little things at the barbecue was the thing to fear. Number 4, the brown recluse. And here the caution changes character, because now we're talking about an animal the experts don't ask you to keep at a distance so much as to never go looking for. The recluse earns its name honestly. It's not aggressive. It doesn't want to be near you. It lives in the dark, undisturbed corners, the backs of closets and the folds of stored cardboard, and the wood framing of basements and attics. The places you reach into without looking. It is creeping up from central and southern Illinois toward Chicago as the climate warms, a range expansion that researchers now connect to shifting climate patterns, which the specialists here have flagged and watched. Its bite is often painless at first, which is the cruelty of it. And then over hours and days, the venom can begin to kill the tissue around the wound. That's when this stuff sets in. The professionals will tell you plainly that no medicine has reliably stopped it once it starts. The expert instruction is almost universally, unnervingly, hands off. Do not try to catch it. Do not keep hold of it to try to identify it. What you need to do is take a picture from a safe distance, if you can, and otherwise let it go. And if you find them established in the home, this is not a thing you saw with a rolled magazine. This is a call to someone who does this stuff for a living. A spider whose only weapon is that you will put your hand where it is hiding before you ever see it. That's it. So we're at the halfway point, which means the animals from here on up are the ones the specialists stop touching altogether. If this is the kind of thing you want more of, subscribe now so it finds you. Because the back half of this part, I couldn't stop reading about. And it is the part that changes how the tidy version of this city looks to you. The top 3 are not the animals people fear. They are the animals the people who know them best have decided are not worth the risk of a single careless inch. Number 3 is the black widow. The northern black widow, to be exact. The species that ranges into this part of the state. Glossy back with that unmistakable red hourglass underneath. It is rare around Chicago, and it does not want to meet you at any of these recluses, like the recluses do, any more than the recluses. It builds in the low, undisturbed places, the wood piles and the sheds and the cluttered corners of a garage. The underside of a bench left out too long. Its venom is pretty tough, and a bite delivers a sharp pin prick. And then, over the following hours, a deep, radiating muscle cramp through the abdomen and your back that is severe enough that the medical guidance here treats every confirmed bite as an emergency, even though a death from one is pretty much rare. And notice what the professionals say when they name it. The pest control experts in this region put it in writing. Attempting to handle these spiders yourself is a risk not worth taking. Positive identification of a widow in your home is not a cue to deal with it. It's a cue to bring in someone trained. The line has moved. With the turtle, they told you how to hold it. With the widow, they tell you don't hold it. Number 2, the wild boar. And I know how that sounds about Chicago, but stay with me, because This is the animal the state's own wildlife authorities have flagged with a warning that stands out from everything else they publish. Feral hogs are an invasive species pushing through Illinois, and their numbers have climbed hard over the last stretch of decades, enough that entire government control programs exist specifically to deal with them. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources has dedicated removal programs for the swine. And at the federal level, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has coordinated multi-agency responses to the spread of the species precisely because it does not behave like native wildlife. And the official guidance is blunt in a way that guidance about native animals almost never is. Do not approach this animal. They are aggressive. They lack the fear that keeps most wildlife away from people. And they're strong and fast and unpredictable in ways a 200-pound wild thing has every right to be. This is the tease turned inside out. Most of this list is animals so shy the experts fear for your carelessness. This is an animal so bold the experts feel for the fear of the animal. Even the people whose job is to remove them do it as a managed operation, not a confrontation. The instruction to a regular person who sees one is is a single word underneath all the rest. How are you supposed to approach it? The word says don't. And yet number 2, for all its size and all of its boldness, is still not the animal the specialists in this region treat with the most caution of all. That distinction belongs to something you could step over without even seeing it. Number 1, the eastern rattlesnake. The only venomous snake that still holds on in the Chicago region. And the reason it tops a list about expert distance is the single most telling fact I found in all of this. There is a wild population of this snake in Cook County, a population protected under the Federal Endangered Species Act. It's so fragile that the Lincoln County Park Zoo took the last of it into a protected care. The way the people work with the venomous snakes is the whole answer to this episode. They do not lift them with the hand, not ever. They lift them with a hook and move them with tongs into a secured container. And the researchers who study the rarest of them work with these animals from a controlled distance because the venomous rattlesnake gives you no margin for a mistake. Even the field scientists who go looking for these snakes are warned not to get close enough to examine the head because that's close enough to be bitten. And here's the thing that makes this snake the perfect end of this list. It's small. It's under 2 foot small, or 2 foot long, which is kind of small for a big snake. Big poisonous one. It's timid to the point of near invisibility. It's gray on gray, sitting motionless in the wet prairie grass, which what's left of it. The remnant of Illinois' wet prairie grass ecosystem that barely survives in scattered preserves across the region. Well, it will sit there for days, so much so that it will not even rattle. So shy that almost every bite on record came from someone who stepped on it or reached for it without knowing it was there. It produces venom more potent than most rattlesnakes in America, and it is packaged in an animal you will walk right past. That's why the people who know it best keep the most distance of anyone on this list. Not because it charges, because it doesn't have to. Because the danger is never in the animal coming at you. It was in you never seeing the animal at all. So, look back down the list and notice what actually connects it. It's not the size. The boar dwarfs the snake, and the snake outranks the boar. It's not aggression. The 2 shyest animals here, the recluse and the rattlesnake, set number 4 and number 1. What connects it is the distance. The snapping turtle you move with a shovel, the yellowjacket you walk away from. The recluse and the widow, you never reach toward them. The boar, well, you just don't. You stay away from them, right? And the rattlesnake, you only lift it with steel, only from behind. Only if you are one of the few people alive who has learned exactly how to do this. The experts are not the ones who get closest to these animals. They are the ones who have learned better than the rest of us precisely how much room to leave. And the city keeps telling you there's no room needed at all, that the prairie is gone. The danger's been paved over. The wild thing, happened somewhere else. The snapping turtle in the retention pond, the widow in the garage, the little gray snake in the last wet acre of Cook County would all tell you the same quiet thing if they could. They were here first. The stillness you feel out there is not the stillness of a place with nothing in it. It's only your own stillness. If you like this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next episode.